Hi everybody, and welcome to Plastic Models by Regular Dude. I thought I would sit down real quick while I have some time and do a quick update for the end of January, beginning of February. As of the time I am filming this, videoing this, not film, it is February 10th. It's a little later than I like to do these when I do them. So it's been really busy around here as far as the job and life and stuff like that. Children getting married can be quite time consuming, as well as my job responsibilities this time of year. So I'm not getting to spend as much time on the bench as I'd like, but I am getting some stuff done. So what am I working on? I'm getting closer on the M10 by Tamiya tank destroyer that I'm doing for my beginners series, building a model from a photo. So that's coming along nicely. Getting some weathering done on it now, and as you can see, the hedgerow cutter went on nicely. Really nice item from Tank Workshop. I'll definitely be getting stuff from them again as I need it. So the kit is really going along well. I was getting kind of frustrated with it for a bit, for why I don't know. But now that the weathering started, I'm really starting to dig it. It's kind of nice. It's working out well. Turret, got to do some interior work on the turret, but that's coming along nicely. So next stuff, some more weathering, and then I need to start working on some tarps and stowage, that type of thing, getting that prepped. This has been a really long project, but you know, as I've noted from some of my other videos, I've got too many projects going right now. So not only do I have that one going, but I also have the Special Hobby BU-181 going right now. This is where I am so far on it. Being a special or a short run kit, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, but there are certain challenges to a kit like this that you don't run into with mainstream kits, say a Tamiya kit or something like that. The fit is pretty good, not as good though as, say, a Tamiya kit. There has been some weird stuff, for instance, on the wings, and I have a little bit more work to do, but right along the back, the trailing edge of the wing, the ailerons and the flaps, right along this back edge here, there was a pretty nice gap. Even after I put it together and squeezed it together, it was like the two halves, instead of being molded kind of like this, they were kind of molded like that. So whenever you put them together, this trailing edge didn't fit flat. And so what I did is I got it together as good as I could, and then I used some sprue goo, some homemade sprue goo, and filled it in and let it set up for a few days, and then I was able to sand it off, and it turned out pretty nice. So anyway, it's a good kit. It's not one I would recommend for an absolute beginner. Somebody with a few kits under their belt could do a decent job on that. So it would offer certain challenges that, again, a mainstream kit such as Tamiya or Hasegawa or some other aircraft manufacturer, Eduard, it offers certain challenges that you don't find on those kind of kits, but nothing that's insurmountable. It's been a fun kit, something fun to do different, exercise some different skill sets. And the other project I've got going here, and I've actually made some progress on, is the FW 190 1/32 scale by Revell. I got the base aluminum color on it. The color scheme I'm doing is mostly bare aluminum with some camouflage over top of that. And I have to say that the paint for my first bare metal finish, I'm pretty stoked. I have a ways to go. There's a learning curve, but it's turned out much better than I thought it would, and I did a much better job repairing seam lines and imperfections in the plastic than I thought I did. You never really can tell till after you get primer and paint on, and then things become apparent. But I actually did a pretty good job cleaning this up. No, not bragging or anything. I'm just pleased that I was able to, I took my time on it. This has been a project that's been going for quite a while as well. I'm glad I'm taking my time on it because it's, shown in the deal. But as far as the color that I used, I've stated a number of times that Vallejo is not actually my favorite paint, just because of the difficulties I have with I can't find my primer with the Vallejo paint and the way it behaves, especially when it's warm. That's why this project has taken so long. But I have to say that this particular stuff, here we go, is working really nice. So what I'm using is the Vallejo Metal Color and the Gloss Surface Primer. Now, this doesn't give you a total complete glossy finish with the primer. Maybe it's the way I applied it, I don't know, but it was noticeably glossier than the typical Vallejo paint, or even Stynylrez or primer, or even Stynylrez. Those are a lot flatter in finish. Whereas this actually gave, I'd say it's more kind of a semi-gloss, in between semi-gloss and gloss, but it's good enough for what I needed. And then applied the Vallejo Metal Color over top. And the Vallejo Metal Color, I like the way it works. It really works well. Sprayed really nice. Didn't overdo it, didn't get any puddles or anything like that, so that worked out really well. So those are the 3 projects that I actually have on the bench right now. Everything else is done. So I'm going to be completing those in their entirety before I open another box. I've got some other kits in the wings. I've got a Stug 3. I've got a MiG 21, which will be interesting considering I'm not much of a modern armor or modern aircraft kind of guy. I'm actually looking forward to doing this kit. I just haven't built any I have not built a modern aircraft since junior high, back in the 70s. So kind of looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. Got it from my good friend Peter Persson over in Sweden. Thanks again, Peter, if you're watching this. Hope you're feeling okay. Then I have another Sherman to do. So I have a few kits in the stash waiting, and I'm trying to trim this stuff down and get it built before I even buy any more kits or anything like that. I want to get these done and off the bench and on the shelf, photographed, whatever, and then work on some of the kits I have waiting in the wings. So that's basically what I've got going on right now. No new products. I'm just using what I've got. I think I've gotten to the point, there's a few of the Vallejo weathering products I want to try, like some of the muds and the mud with grass and stuff like that. I want to try some of that textured stuff, but I haven't bothered getting any yet. I'm just using what I have. For example, on the now this is preliminary, this isn't done, so it's kind of stark right now, but I'm using the Vallejo pigments and their pigment binder to create some textured mud effects with the light sienna, which is what you see up here. Then what I did for down below, where I wanted more wet mud, is I used the Abteilung Dark Mud. Which is somewhere right here. Dark Mud. Now on the tube, it's more of a brown than it really is. It's more of a grayish brown, the actual color, which is maybe you can see it in there. That's the color of it, which looks really good. And I did a wash of that over the light sienna, and it darkened it up a bit, and then I used some Tamiya gloss to give it the wet effect, and then I'm going to spray a light coat of probably a buff color, maybe something a little darker than a buff color, to just kind of tie it in where it's not quite so stark between the dried and the wet mud. But it's going good so far. I like it. This is only the second kit I've done wet mud effects on, so the fact that it's turning out even halfway decent so far is a miracle. So yeah, but other than that, there's no new products or anything like that on my bench. I'm just using what I've got, and I think I've gotten to this stage where the products that I have are working well for me. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing, with the exception of the textured mud stuff, because that'll be kind of nice, I think, just to eliminate some of the extra steps that it takes to do this. Also on this kit, I'm trying a little different method of weathering, and let's just say it's simplified compared to what I normally do, but the effect is good, or even maybe a little bit better than what I normally do. Or maybe it's just I've weathered so many vehicles lately, it's, you know, becoming easier, but it's working out well. And I'll talk about it on a later video. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Those 3 kits are in the works. I do have one other kit in the works. I forgot. The Bronco Stug 3 that I'm doing is a buddy build with Peter Persson in Sweden. That one's completely assembled and done. Tracks included, but I've got it on hold right now because Peter's been, as I mentioned on an earlier video that I did, Peter's dealing with the return of leukemia, and he's had a couple of infections that have put him in the hospital that came on due to, I'm assuming, a weakened immune system due to his treatments. So he's been spending some time in the hospital, and he hasn't really been able to do much work on the Stug, and for good reason. So I've got that one in the box and set aside, and I'm going to let him, as he can, he's got to do a little bit of work on it. He's felt good enough to do some work on it, which is good. So once he gets up to the completed stage and he's ready to start painting as well, I'll join back in with him. I don't want to rush it. He's a really good dude. He's a really nice guy, and you know, I really feel bad for what he's going through, but he is very, very upbeat, and you know, he's just taking it a day at a time, and you know, doing what he can do. So anyway, you know, keep Peter in your thoughts. Really great guy. So anyway, enough of that. Peter, if you're watching, hope you're feeling better, man. So anyway, there's that. So that's the other one I've got, but it's done, just on hold, getting ready for paint. So that's what I've got going on for my end of January, beginning of February recap and update. So stay tuned. I'll have some more videos coming up pretty soon on this M10 project and on the BU-181. Once I get those two wrapped up, I'm going to jump back on that FW-190 and start with the camouflage pattern on it. Get that done. Then I can start working on decals and that sort of thing, and get close to finishing that up. So anyway, that's it from Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. Appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. And until next time, I will see you later.